The lecture is about divisibility in an integral domain. So at first we will be starting with the definition of a divisor, or when we will say one element of an integral domain is divisible by another non-zero element. Suppose we are considering D be an integral domain and a comma b two elements belongs to D with a is not equal to 0, that is a is a non-zero element. Then if there exists an element C belongs to D such that B equals AC, then we will say that A is said to be divide B, and it is expressible by this notation, that is A divides B. Just like the concept we get for two positive integers, divisibility of two positive integers, like A is the divisor here, that means A cannot be equal to 0, A must be non-zero, otherwise it will be absurd. So we take two elements of our integral domain D and A is not equal to 0, then when we will say A divides B, if there exists some C belongs to that integral domain such that B can be expressed as AC. Okay. Now here are few property of divisors. Number one property is A divides A. This is obviously true. Next, number one, provided obviously A not equal to 0, otherwise 0 by 0 will be undefined. Number two is A divides B, comma B divides C. This will implies A divides C. And provided A not equal to 0, B not equal to 0, otherwise these two won't be defined. So this will imply A divides C. And number 3 is A divides B. This will imply A divides BD for all D belongs to capital D. That means if A divides B, then any multiple of B will be divisible by A. So these are the few properties of the divisor. Next thing is units and associates. You know what an unit is? Unit means in a domain an element is said to be unit if it has a multiplicative inverse. That means all those elements which has their multiplicative inverse. That means if we consider some A, then it said to be A is a unit. Obviously A must be not equal to 0 because it contains the multiplicative inverse. So A must be not equal to 0, that is a non-zero element A in an integral domain D is said to be units if there exists some element A inverse, or we can take it as B also, whatever you want to write, such that A dot A inverse equals to 1. What is 1? 1 means the unity. That means the multiplicative identity element. So if A inverse or A dot B, if you take instead of A inverse B, then it will be A dot B. A dot B equals to 1. Then we will say that A is a unit. That means unit means all that elements which have their multiplicative inverses. That's it. Clearly if A is a unit, B is obviously a unit because the inverse of B will be A. So these are the units. And the next one is associate. Now in an integral domain, two non-zero elements are said to be associates if, suppose A and B, we are considering two non-zero elements, there belongs to D. Now we will say A and B are associates if A can be represented as A equals BU, where U is a unit. That means if A can be represented as the product of B and some unit element, then we will say that A and B are associates. Now clearly A and B are associates, that means B and A both are associates, because from this line what we can write, that BU equals A. So B equals A U inverse. Now U inverse is also a unit when U is unit. So let's take it as V. So this will become AV, that where V is obviously a unit. So A and B are associates to each other. We will say this. When for two non-zero elements we can express them like this. That means one element is equal to another element into some unit. That is product of unit and the another element. Then we will say these two elements, obviously they should be non-zero, they are associates to each other. Okay. Now I will give you few examples. You have to find out the units and the associates of that particular integral domains. Okay, but before that we need to know few more things, few more properties of associates. After completing this, we will move to the example part. Now, number one property of associates, it is saying that two non-zero elements A and B in an integral domain, they are associates if and only if A divides B and B divides A. A and B both are non-zero, they are said to be associates if and only if A divides B and B divides A. In general classical algebra concept, that is from integer, if A divides A and B divides A, we would conclude there that A equals to B. But here this is not always true. A and B, they becomes associates. Okay, obviously if it's associate, if it's A equal to B, then obviously there will be associates, because A equals B into 1 we can write. So there we are generalizing the concept in this integral domain. So that means A and B should be associates. So let's take the proving the necessary part. Let us choose that A and B are associates. That means there exists some unit U such that A equals BU. Okay, and we have to prove that A divides B and B divides A. Now from here what we can say, that B divides A, obviously, because A can be expressed as some non-zero element. Unit means obviously non-zero, some non-zero element and the element B. So obviously B divides A. From here we can say again A equals BU. That means B means A U inverse, right? Let us take as V. So AB. So from here what we can conclude, A divides B, because B can be represented as A into some element, multiple of A. So A divides B. That means B divides A and A divides B. That is the first part is proved. Now we need to prove the second part. Here we will choose, that is the converse part. Here we will choose B divides A and A divides B. Then we have to prove that A and B are associates. So let's take, let A and B be two non-zero elements belongs to the integral domain D such that A divides B and B divides A. Okay. Now if A divides B, what we can write? B equal to AC for some C belongs to D, and B divides A. For that reason what we can write? A equals BD for some D belongs to capital D. Just from the definition of divisors we can write this. Now B equals AC, starting with this. Now putting the value of A, it will be BDC. Now taking common B, 1 minus DC equals 0. Now B is already not equal to 0. We have chosen two non-zero elements. That means this part should be 0. That is DC equals to 1. That means this will imply C and D both are units, right? Because C is the inverse of D and D is the inverse of C, as their product is equals 1. So C and D both are units. That means A can be written as some B into some unit element, and B also can be written as A into some unit element C. That means from here we can say that A and B are associates. This proves the property. Okay. Next, moving to another concept which is called multiplicative norm. Multiplicative norm. Multiplicative norm is a function, capital N. Suppose the function is defined on an integral domain D from the set of integers, that is Z. Okay, this is an integral domain. So N is a function which is called multiplicative norm, and it is defined from an integral domain to the set of all integers. It is said to be a multiplicative norm or a norm function. Also it is known as norm function if it satisfies few conditions. So what are the conditions? Number 1, N of alpha greater or equal to 0 for all alpha belongs to D. and equality holds if and only if alpha equals 0. And number 2 is n of alpha beta equals n alpha n beta for all alpha comma beta belongs to D. Okay, so if a function n from D, that is from any integral domain to the set of integers, if it satisfies these two conditions, then we will say that it is a norm function. What are the conditions? Number 1, it is always should be non-negative and it will be equal to 0 if and only if that element alpha is equal to 0, and it should be a multiplicative function. That means product of the value of the product of two elements should be the product of their values, that is n alpha beta equals n alpha into n beta. Now here are one property of that norm function, which is called n of u would be equal to 1 if u is a unit. That means for every unit nu should be equals to 1. So whenever we will get the value 1, we can claim from there that u must be a unit element. That's it. Okay, so these are the theory part. Now we are moving to problem solving, which is more important in that chapter. In abstract algebra, problem solvings are most important. So at first, starting with units, how to find the unit of some particular examples. Now we know we have already solved in the ring theory 1 chapter, probably in the 4th semester. You have already learned how to find units for different sets. Like if I say that Z5, you know how to find the units of Z5. The rule is for the domain Zn, class M will be a unit if and only if that GCD of m comma n equals 1, right? That was the concept. So you can easily find out the units of Z5. What will be that? It will be class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, right? So this is how we find out the units of this type of sets. Now let us consider a little bit harder set. Consider Zi. So write down the question. Find the units in the integral domain Zi. Find the units in the integral domain Zi. So how will we do that? Now what is Zi? Zi is that set of this type of elements a plus bi such that a comma b belongs to Z. That means integers. So this type of elements belongs to Zi. We have to find out the units. That means we have to find out all that elements of Zi which has a multiplicative inverse. So let us choose that alpha equals a plus bi. This is a unit. Okay. Then it has a multiplicative inverse. So let's check. There exists some c plus di belongs to Zi such that a plus bi into c plus di equals the unity element, which is obviously 1. For Zi, the unity element is 1 plus 0i, that is 1. Now we need to find out the value of n. Now here we are considering a norm function n defined from D to Z, and it is defined by n of alpha equals alpha bar. N of alpha equals alpha into alpha bar. Okay, this is obviously a norm function because it satisfies all the two conditions for being a norm function. Now we will use this. Now this into this equals 1. That means n of alpha plus bi into n of c plus di equals n of 1, right? So what will be this value? Just applying this rule, n of alpha equals alpha bar, it will be a plus bi into a minus bi, that is ultimately a square plus b square, into this. From this one what will you get? C square plus d square. This should be equals n of 1, which is equal to 1, that is 1 into 1 bar, which is again 1. So this is equals to 1. Now what happened from there? What is the only possibility of a and b? The only possibility is a square plus b square should be equals to 1, right? Because we can say this from this line also, and we have said that alpha is a unit. Yes, alpha is a plus bi, which is a unit. So whenever it is a unit, n of alpha should be equals to 1. So from there also we can claim that a square plus b square should be equal to 1. So from here we are writing a square plus b square should be equal to 1. Now what can be the values of a and b take such that a square plus b square equals to 1, where a and b are integers, because we have chosen them from z. The only possibilities are there. It can take a equals plus minus 1 and b equals 0, then a square plus b square would be 1, or a equals 0 and b equals plus minus 1, right? These are the only possibilities. Other than this, there are no integer values such that a square plus b square becomes 1. So if we will put this the values of a and b one by one, and we will get the value of alpha. Alpha means a plus I beta, right? So what can be the possible values for alpha? If you put a equals 1, it will be 1 plus I0, that is 0. Next minus 1 plus I0, that is 0. Next put a equals 0, then it will become I for plus 1, and for minus 1 it will become minus I. So these four are the possible values of alpha, and we have chosen alpha as a unit. So these are the units of Zi. Okay. This one. Just use the concept that n of alpha should be equal to 1 when alpha is a unit. That's it. Nothing else to do. Then you will get the value of a comma b. So 1 minus 1 I minus I. These are total 4 units of Zi. Okay. Next, moving to example number 2. Find the units of the integral domain. Find the units of the integral domain z I root 5. This one. Exactly the same procedure we will apply. How will it look? The elements of zi root 5, the elements are like a plus b I root 5 such that a comma b belongs to z. This is our zi root 5. We have to find out the units. So let's take alpha equals some a plus b I root 5 is a unit. Then n of alpha should be equal to unity, that is 1. N of alpha should be equal to 1. This is the 1 belongs to z, because the codomain of n alpha is 1 is z. So n alpha should be equal to 1. Now we are applying the same norm function alpha alpha bar. So it will be n alpha will be a square plus 5b square, which is equal to 1. Now a and b have been taken from z. So what values they can take such that a square plus 5b square equals to 1? The only possibilities are a equals plus minus 1 and b equals 0. There is other than no value of from z such that a square plus 5b square becomes 1. So this is the only possible value. That means alpha can take the value either 1 or minus 1. So these two are the units of z of I root 5. Okay, 1 and minus 1. Similarly, if I give you the example, find out the units of z of I root 3. You will be able to do that because you know how to do it, right? Next, moving to finding associates. How to find the associates? Write down first example. Find all associates of 3 minus 2i in zi. 3 minus 2i in zi. Now what is associates? Two elements, two non-zero elements A and B, they are said to be associates if A equals B into U for some unit U, right? That means if we multiply with B all the possible units, then these products will represent one associates of B. We multiply by one unit, we will get one associates. Multiplied by other unit, we will get other associates, and so on. So at first our work is to find out all the units of that given domain. Now the given domain is Zi, right? We have already found all the units of Zi. What are the units? These are plus minus 1 plus minus I. So writing the units of Zi are 1 minus 1 I minus I. So what will be the associates? Associates are just multiply the elements 3 minus 2i, this element, given element, with that units 1 by 1. Suppose this is take as B, okay, and these are U1, U2, U3, U4. So B into U1 you will get A1, which is one associate. B U2 equals A2, which is another associate. Similarly B U3 equals A3, this is another associate, and B U4 equals A4. So the associates of 3 minus 2i's are at first 1 into 3 minus 2i, then minus 1 into 3 minus 2i, I into 3 minus 2i, minus I into 3 minus 2i. So it will become 3 minus 2i, minus 3 plus 2i, then 2 plus 3i, and then 2 minus 3i. Sorry, this one will be minus 2 minus 3i. Yes. So these are the 4 units of 3 minus 2i in the domain Zi. Okay. Next, moving to another example of finding associate. Example number 2. Find all associates of 1 plus I root 5. Find all associates of 1 plus I root 5 in Z I root 5. Okay. How will we do that? This is very easy. This is the required domain here. What are the units of that domain? We have already found it. These are 1 comma minus 1. These are the units. So what will be the associates? Associates will be 1 into 1 plus I root 5, then minus 1 into 1 plus I root 5. That means 1 plus I root 5, comma, minus 1 minus I root 5. These are the two possible associates for 1 plus I root 5 in Z I root 5 domain. Okay. This one. Next, example number 3. Find all associates of class 6 in Z10. Find all associates of class 6 in Z10. So at first get all the units of Z10. How to find the units of Zn? The units of Zn will be class M such that GCD of M comma N equals 1. So the units will be class M such that GCD of M comma this 10 equals to 1. So what values M can take? M can be 1, 3, 7, 9. These 4 possible values M can get 1, 3, 7, 9. So the units of Z10 will be class 1, class 3, class 7, class 9. These are the units. Now we have to find out all the associates of class 6. So multiply that class 6 by all the units, you will get the result. So the associates will be class 1 into class 6, that is class 6, then class 1 into class 3, class 3 into class 6, class 3 into class 6, that will be class 18, class 18 means class 8, then class 7 into class 6, so it will become class 42, 42 means class 2, then 9, class 9 into class 6, which will become class 54, class 54 means class 4. So class 2, class 4, class 6, class 8. These are the all possible associates of class 6 in Z10. Okay. Next example number 4. It is saying that find all associates of class 2 plus x in Z3x. Find all associates of class 2 plus x in Z3x. Now at first, what is Z3x? Z3x means polynomial ring. The elements of that ring is the polynomials over this domain Z3. So suppose if I am saying that D of x, this one, that means the ring of polynomials over the set D. Suppose D is the real number set, then it will become Rx and it will be the all real polynomials. Here it is Z3x. That means it will be all the polynomials over the domain Z3. That is, the elements will look like a0x plus a1x square. A0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus dot dot, suppose an, where all these ai's belongs to Z3. And what is Z3? Z3 means class 0, class 1, class 2, right? So this Z3x is called the polynomial ring over Z3. Now we have to find out the associates of this element in Z3. So for that reason, at first we need what will be the units of Z3 x. What are the units? Units of Z3 x are class 1 and class 2. That means the non-zero elements of Z3. That is actually the units of Z3 and the Z3x both are same. The units of Z3 and units of Z3x both are same. So the units of Z3 we can easily find out. These are class 1 and class 2. So the units of Z3x will also be the same, class 1 and class 2. Now you can easily get the associates of that element. So associates will be at first class 1 into class 2 plus polynomial class 2 plus x, and then class 2 into the polynomial class 2 plus x. That means it will become class 2 plus x, this polynomial, and it will become class 4. Class 4 means class 1 plus class 2 x, this polynomial. So these two are the associates of the polynomial class 2 plus x over the integral domain Z3x. Okay, this one. Next, example number 5. It is quite similar. Find all associates of 2 plus x minus 3x square in Zx. Find all associates of 2 plus x minus 3x square in Zx. We need to find that. So at first get the units of Zx. Units of Zx and units of Z both are same. What are the units of Z? These are 1, minus 1. So the units of Zx will also be the same. Units of Zx are 1, minus 1. Now multiply these units with this element, you will get the associates. So the associates will be first one is 1 into that element, that is 2 plus x minus 3x square, and the second one is minus 1 into that element, that means minus 2 minus x plus 3x square. This one. Okay. Similarly, if I give you another example, example number 6, this will be your homework. Just the same. Find all associates of x square plus class 2 in Z7x. Find all associates of x square plus class 2 in Z7x. Just apply the same procedure, we will get the result. Okay. Next, moving to the part of divisor. How to find the divisor of an element. So, the question is, find the divisors of 1 plus I in Zi. Of 1 plus I in Zi. So the element is 1 plus I. Okay. So let us consider, let A plus Bi is a divisor of 1 plus I. Okay. That means there exists some C plus Di belongs to Zi such that what we can write, A plus Bi into C plus Di equals 1 plus I. Whenever A plus Bi is a divisor of 1 plus I, that means 1 plus I can be represented as a multiple of A plus Bi. We are just taking this multiple as C plus Di because the elements of Zi are look like this, C plus Di. So A plus Bi into C plus Di equals 1 plus I. Now we are applying the norm function capital N as N alpha equals alpha alpha bar. The same norm function we are using in almost all the problems. So N of alpha plus Bi into N of C plus Di, A plus Bi, not alpha plus Bi. A plus Bi into N of C plus Di equals N of 1 plus I. So it will become A square plus B square into C square plus D square equals 1 square plus 1 square, that is 2. Right? Now what are the possibility can be applicable here? These are A square plus B square equals 1 and C square plus D square equals 2, or A square plus B square equals 2 and C square plus D square equals 1. In both the cases the product becomes 2 and otherwise there are no other possibilities. Now we need to find out the value of A and B, right? So check the first case, this case. What is the value of A square plus B square? It is 1. So what are the possibilities? From this case we can write A and B both are integers such that A square plus B square equals 1. So A can take the value plus minus 1 and B can take the value 0, then it will becomes 1, or A can take the value 0 and B can take the value plus minus 1. This is another possibility. These are the only two possibilities from these conditions. And moving to the second condition, this is A square plus B square equals 2. So what values can be taken by that A and B? A can be plus minus 1 and B can be plus minus 1. Then A square plus B square will become 2. So these are the only possible values of A and B. And we have chosen that A plus